Deep in the endless void of space, with no one to hear you, it can be pretty easy to lose your mind. Welcome to the nightmare of Pandorum, a deep descent into brutal madness, survival, and something lurking in the shadows. Trust me when I say this, but this movie is different. It slipped right past many audiences, but beneath its grimy, industrial surface lies a disturbing meditation on our space in the world, and on the whole universe. This isn't just a monster movie in space. This is a deep exploration into discovering what really happens when you aren't fully human anymore. So from here on out, I'll be talking about the plot. So if you still haven't watched this movie, I highly recommend you to go watch it, and obviously, come right back to this video. The movie opens with Earth at a breaking point. People are dying, resources are running out, and in the darkest moments, some look to the stars for even the slightest possible chance of salvation. Yet the film truly begins with the awakening of Corporal Bauer, a man aboard the Elysium, a huge interstellar space ark bound for the distant planet Tanis. He remembers nothing after exiting his hypersleep pod. Who he is, where he is, it's all been wiped completely clean. Bauer begins to explore, as any sensible person would, and comes upon Lieutenant Peyton, another recently awoken crew member. Both men soon come up with a plan to access more parts of the ship, cut off by sealed doors. Bauer will climb through ventilation pipes and explore, while Peyton stays in the control room, looking out and guiding him. Yet as they try to figure out what went wrong with the ship, something darker comes to light. The two crew members are not alone. Deep in the shadows of the Elysium live monstrous, pale creatures who stalk the ship looking for food and prey. They seem to be mutated humans, now cannibalistic predators through exposure and environmental adaptation. Yet Bauer soon meets other survivors, clinging onto life in the desolate atmosphere of the ship. Man is one of them, who doesn't speak English but fights with feral precision, and Nadia, a biologist who's been surviving on her own in the lower levels. She's aware of the ship's evolution, detailing how it might have happened. Back on the bridge, Peyton's behaviour grows more and more erratic. Through fragmented flashbacks, the truth begins to emerge. Peyton is not Peyton at all. He's Gallo, a junior officer who succumbed to Pandorum, a deep space psychosis, making its victims suffer from paranoia, hallucinations, and violent delusions. Years ago, Gallo killed the real Peyton, assumed his identity, and descended even further into madness. The final act builds to a huge reckoning. As Bauer confronts Gallo, he begins to feel the strain of Pandorum himself. Reality begins slipping around him, blurring the line between the real and the fake. It's about the moment when the horror becomes more internal, about who we really are. It's not just survival now, it's also knowing when you've lost your mind. In a huge plot twist, it's revealed the ship hasn't been travelling to Tanis. It crashed on Tanis 800 years ago and is now submerged deep into the ocean. Bauer and Nadia escape via a jettison pod, alongside 1,213 other human lives, now ready to begin on a brand new world. It seems to be a happy ending, with the heroes alive and Peyton now dead. But this isn't a true triumphant escape, only a fragile restart. Hope is alive, but out of ruin. You just have to survive to see it. Pandorum did something a bit different. It's scary for many multiple reasons, adding layers to what would have already been a pretty decent horror movie. Monsters on a spaceship is a pretty scary plot by itself, but this movie just takes it deeper. So first, the atmosphere of this movie is just brilliant. The Elysium is suffocating, every corridor tight and industrial. It's a maze of flickering light, rusted grates, and decaying machinery. It feels abandoned. The movie employs the claustrophobia as visible terror. Every space in the ship is constrained, metallic. Though not the first thing most people would think of in terms of horror elements in this movie, without the setting, it definitely wouldn't work as well. The aesthetic of the whole movie hammers in every terrifying aspect of the movie. It highlights all the horrifying elements in the film, wrapping it up in a rusty metal bow. Another reason which really stands out as to why this movie is just so scary is the isolation. This works with the setting in particular. The cramped, tight setting adds to the isolated atmosphere. The characters are totally isolated, not just on the ship, but in the deep, endless void of space. The characters don't know how long they've been, where they are, or what's even happening. That's only hammered in when it's revealed Earth is gone, all the inhabitants now dead. The characters don't have a grounding force they can hold on to now. They are truly disconnected, having to survive using only their own wits and brains. No rescue ship is coming, no quick fix. They're well and truly stuck, isolated in the middle of space. And one such element that works perfectly with the setting and the isolation are the creatures. Despite becoming a side plot nearer the end, they're one of the most memorable parts of the entire movie. Their cracked, distorted appearance and strange, inhuman movements work perfectly with the eventual reveal that they are humans. They're us, just transformed by forced evolution, chemicals and centuries of environmental exposure. They're hunched over and primal, with sharp teeth and ritualistic behaviour. Yet, despite that, they're surprisingly organised. There's the slight semblance of humanity hidden within the pale, broken bodies of Elysium's monsters. That's what truly makes them so existentially horrific. It's as if the human psyche is trapped within a violent, disturbed outer shell, and slowly, the psyche fades away, with only the brutality remaining. I think that can be seen best with the child creature, who the survivors refrain from attacking multiple times, thinking it's different from the others. But by the end, it kills one of the survivors, Man. They still believe they can find humanity within a hopeless setting, and when they're wrong, someone dies. Humanity is gone within the ship, yet we still search for it. Linking into that, the film uses existential horror a fair bit, especially near the end, and nowhere can that be seen in a large capacity, in my opinion, than with the use of evolution itself as horror. The very idea that the human body can change, and will, is chilling by itself. One of the worst perspectives of that is shown here, being evolution not as a way of society progressing, but regressing. The creatures in particular are chaotic, brutal monsters, which makes us think of them as savages. But that being one possible way of human society going is just terrifying to think about. It's the unsettling idea of how far you'd go to survive. Would survival mean losing your humanity? And one of the reasons the plot twist of the creatures being human worked so well is because of the slow burn throughout the whole story, cascading the characters in a downward spiral towards insanity and desperation. Plot twists only work if the audience knows it can work logically, which the slow burn here does effectively. You learn, as the characters do, piecing together what happened on the now corpse-like ship. The twist of Peyton actually being Gallo, a murderous psychopath, works because of the slow setup, with heightening tension rising in every scene. It makes the whole movie attack the audience, making them anxious, confused, lost. The movie strikes you with tension and paranoia, mirroring the emotions the characters are going through. But there isn't really much you can do when reality starts changing, when your mind shifts. That's the real terror. So that was Pandorum, a sci-fi horror where you can't trust your senses and where the monsters are waiting in the shadows. Thanks for watching the video, and it's genuinely really nice to see people watching and enjoying my videos. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like and subscribe. I mean, there's a different type of horror to this movie, on multiple layers, where the mind slips and trust breaks, where reality starts shifting. That is when Pandorum has got you.